Hello and welcome back to a new episode of Code Study. What we'll be looking into today are some really impressive and cool AI tools that Google has made available. So over the past 3 years, Google has been building up an impressive portfolio of AI tools. And the coolest part about these tools are that most of them are absolutely free. Now, by free, I mean it's free up to a certain limit. So there is a ceiling after which you would be expected to make some payment, which is fair enough. But for our purposes, I feel this is more than sufficient. Now, is this a comprehensive list of the AI tools that Google has? No, I just want to put it out there that this is just a subset of the tools that Google has made available. So there are more tools, and also the tools that are made available vary from region to region. So for example, I do not have access to something like Google Opal, which is available in countries like US and UK and the European nations, but it's not made available in India where I reside. So be aware that the actual tool and maybe even the nature of the tool might vary based on where you reside. Okay. And also, before I start this video, I would like to have a call out to one of my dear friends, Sudhakar Reddy, who drew attention to the fact that my voice was assaulting his eardrums because I was not using an ANC enabled mic. If you have noticed, I have rectified that. So I have a new mic now, Sudhakar, and I will be sending the bill. Okay. Now let's get started. So the first tool that I'll be introducing you to today is Firebase Studio. Okay. So if you go to https://firebase.studio, it will bring you up to this page. So this is essentially a full stack AI workspace which you can use to build your mobile apps or front ends, your backends. You can use it to do vibe coding if you wanted, or you could use it to import your existing code repo, make changes to it. Absolutely everything goes here. So let's see how this goes. So let's just get started. Okay. And it immediately tells me, hello Sony, what do you want to build today? Now, if you wanted, okay, you could create a new workspace. So you just click on the plus symbol here saying new workspace, or you could import an existing repo. So you could import your GitHub space, your project, using this link here. You could choose which language or which language platform you wanted to use to build your app. So for example, if you took something like Python Flask and you click on it, it would ask you what you want your namespace to be named as, and say I say something like demo, and I use my package manager. So I have an option between pip and poetry. Server type, I just choose web server and I say create. This should open an IDE for me with the boilerplate code being available, and it essentially would generate a hello world web app for me, which is the boilerplate, right? So I can build upon it. So let's see how long this takes. So this not take much thing. I think hardly 10 or 20 seconds, and there you have it, right? So you have your boilerplate code there, and let's see whether it does something else. So yeah, it has its index. It has its main.py. So, and then just to be aware, I'm not doing anything. Okay, so whatever is being done by the Google's AI editor. Just let me move my video up a bit. So I don't want Python debugger, that's fine. Okay. So what it is trying to do is it's trying to build the application, and it's trying to run it. Let me close these messages on the right hand side, and it says the build is available, and you can see it has actually run my project, right? So the hello world web app is up and running. How long did it take? Hardly a minute. Cool. Now let's go back to Studio and let us try some vibe coding. Okay, let me try white. Okay, so what I'll do is let us try a number guessing app. Okay, uh, so let us build a app which is essentially a game which allows us to guess a number, and based on certain number of attempts, and it tracks the number of attempts you take to actually guess that number correctly. Okay, number guessing game web app. Yeah, that should be enough. Let's just say prototype with AI. This will not take that long. Okay, so it brings up the blueprint, and if we wanted, we could refine the prompt, refine the blueprint. So we could add, if we wanted to make some changes, we could say that no, I want the color to be different, I want the layout to be different. uh, so this is, and the way you could do is that you could just click on customize, and you could go and you could just change whatever you wanted there. I'm not going to do that. Okay, so I'll just click on cancel here, and I'll just say prototype this app. But this gives you a feel, isn't it? So how powerful this tool is, essential. It's prototyping that. Let me move my video to the left hand side. Okay, and we are ready. Right. Okay, so let's try this. Okay, so let us just it says guess master. I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 100. Now I have to guess what the number is. So let me guess. It says it's too high, try lower number. So let me try. So it says too high again. Okay, too low, too high. Guessed it, right? So I guessed it correctly. It works perfectly fine. Now this was a very silly app to do, but you get the idea. And if you wanted, right, you can see on the right hand side, you can publish it, or if you wanted, you could just switch to the code and see the actual code that it has generated for this number game app. If you click on publish, it will go to your Google Cloud account, it will create a project, and this will cost you money, right? So because it needs to host that web app, so I'm not going to do that. So it will be asking me for my API key to actually enter, because it is billable. We don't want to be billable for this. So this is essentially a free demo. Let us keep this free. Another tool that you can use for building apps is Gems, and how you access it is you go to Gemini .google.com, log in with your account, and your left hand side, on the left hand side pane, you can see something called Explore Gems. Click on it, right? And this essentially brings up a dashboard where you can have a prompt which will say that you can create a new gem if you wanted, or you could use some pre-made gems by Google. Okay, so you can have a, say, a chess champ which plays chess with a language model, make your first move using chess coordinates, and so on and so forth. But essentially, the gist is, if you click on new gem, you can give your app a name, you can give it the instruction on what it wants to be, you can give it some files, some knowledge bases where it can draw its knowledge from. So essentially an app which you can build, you can supplement it with your information, and you can share it. Okay, there will be many more of these tools, and I'm not going to build an app again, because you get the gist. It is something you can use to build an app. Now let's explore the third tool. Now, if the poison of your choice is UIs and you're into UI designs, Stitch is the go-to tool for you. Okay, so it has some absolutely fabulous templates available. Just need to go to stitch.withgoogle.com, log in with your account, and you come into this dashboard. So in your left hand side, you have some examples, some prompts which you can have a look into and get an idea of what sort of prompt you should be using. So let me try something. Okay. So let me try building a, I'll ask the AI agent to build a YouTube tutorial catalog which teaches the latest in AI. The page should have a facts section, uh, highlighted video and archives. There should also be a small section dedicated for any Q&A. The look of the site should be contemporary and professional, and I've selected it should be a web design. If I wanted, I could go for mobile, and I'll just say generate the design. This should not take that long. Okay, it should actually give you a estimated arrival time, a sort of estimate, right? No, so it should tell you, okay, yeah, it says the estimated time is 40 seconds. So within 40 seconds, it should be showing me my UI design. I have no idea what it will generate. Okay, so as excited as you. Let us see what happens after 30 seconds. And we are finally done. It took a little more than 40 seconds, under a minute there, but there we are, and it looks quite contemporary, right? So it's exactly as I asked. It has featured tutorial, it has archives, and it has some frequently asked questions. If I wanted, I could just change anything about the design that I didn't like, or I could add to it. Say, if I wanted, I could add a banner, for example. uh, I could say add a help section here, something on those sorts. You get the flow, right? Now, with that, let's move to our next tool. And with that, we are on to Notebook. This is my favorite part, right? So, what is a notebook? If you think about it, from your personal experience, when you create a note, right, you would draw from different sources, and it is something you would refer back to it. This is exactly the idea, whereby you can put in material from different sources. It can be a YouTube video, it can be a PDF, it can be an audio file, whatever it is, and you can create a notebook and you can share it, right? So you could also have an audio overview of the notebook. You could have a video overview, you could have a mind map, you could have a report generated. The list goes on and on. So let's see how this works then. So the first thing you need to do is you need to go to notebooklm.google.com, sign in with your credentials, and it will bring you to a sort of dashboard. If you wanted, you could go through the different notebooks that people have published and shared, some really cool stuff here, by the way. But what we are interested in is to create a new notebook. And so let's click on create new. And this will bring up this page. Now, you'll straight away see that you have an option for uploading sources. So you can choose a file to upload. If you wanted, you could upload a link. So you could upload a YouTube link, or you could give a URL to a website. You could upload material from your Google Drive, or you could just paste some text if you wanted. One very interesting and powerful sub tool that NotebookLM has within its portfolio is discover sources. So for example, if you did not have any material ready to share with, or to create a notebook with, you could just click on discover sources, and you could just describe something that you wanted to find a source about. So for example, I could say collect the most common issues slash pains described by users in niche forums such as Reddit and Quora. Period of the search should be within the last 1 week. Okay, and I'll say just find the sources from the web, and if I hit on submit, right, it should immediately, it should bring up me a list of resources or sources which I can then select from. We'll see. Okay, and there you go. It hardly took 10 seconds, right? So it brings up some sources that is there. So it says, for example, if I wanted, I could select all the sources, or I could just select one. For example, this why everyone is saying not coming to into IT in 2025. I could just say import, and there you have your source ready. So it is, yeah, It's giving an overview of what it is, the waning lure of IT carriers in 2025. How cool is that? Additionally, what you could also do is try to get a notebook, say from a mixed source resources. So you could have, say, for example, a YouTube video and a PDF file or whatever you wanted. So let's try that. So let me just go back here and just let me create a new notebook. Okay. And okay, for the file, I'll choose a document which is related to system design. So I'll just click on choose file and I'll use system design. It has uploaded the system design. I'll just let's give it a minute to process it. Okay, so it will give an overview of what system design is all about, what the document is all about. Um, Let me add a source. Okay, so if I wanted, I could keep on adding. By the way, I'll just add a YouTube link. Okay, so let me add one of my videos where I'm explaining how you can create a MCP server or how you can locally host it. So let me try putting that link here. And so this is the video. Let me copy it and let me say YouTube and let me paste the URL here and let me say insert. Yeah, then this is now done. So I'm selecting all the two sources. If I wanted, I could select it and I could just say one. I could add more. Now I've just done a refresh on this page so that it picks up the or it regenerates the overview from both the sources. Because if you remember when we initially started, we had just the system design.pdf and that was the overview that it was showing. But now if you look at it, it actually shows the overview from both the YouTube link, which is the MCP server setup made easy, and the system design. So you just need to do a refresh as you keep on adding your sources, right? So next what we'll be looking at is how to create an audio overview, and this is a part I love most, because what essentially Google allows you to do is it allows you to create an audio overview based on whichever language you want and what style of overview you want. I'll show you what I mean. Okay. So essentially, you go to your right hand side and you see this tile called audio overview, and you click on the stencil symbol here, right? So which brings you to the configuration page. Now here you could actually choose what style of audio overview you want. So for example, you could have a deep dive, which is a lively conversation between two hosts unpacking and connecting topics in your sources, and this would actually bring up a very realistic type of to and fro conversations, which you could actually share as a podcast probably, right? So nobody is going to be any wiser. And if you do not believe me, I'll show you. So let me just select deep dive here and let me just keep the length as default. And what should the AI hosts focus on in this episode? Okay, so let me just say okay, focus on what is an MCP server and how to create a simple MCP server locally. And the language, since I am from Kerala, India, I will choose Malayalam. Okay, so just search for Malayalam. It and this bit is a little bit annoying because you have to actually scroll through all the options. You do not have a search option. Bit annoying, but something I can live with. Yeah, there I have Malayalam, and just let me say generate. Now this will take some time. Okay, it will take maybe 5 to 10 minutes, maybe even more. So let me pause this video and I'll come back once the audio overview is ready. And the audio overview has been generated. So this took a little over 8 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes, I would say. Now the question is, are you ready for your mind to be blown? Okay, so let's play this.
നമസ്കാരം. ഇന്നത്തെ നമ്മുടെ ഈ ചർച്ചയിലേക്ക് സ്വാഗതം. നമ്മുടെ കയ്യിലുള്ള കുറച്ച് വിവരങ്ങൾ നോക്കിയപ്പോൾ ഒരു ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റിംഗ് യൂട്യൂബ് ട്യൂട്ടോറിയൽ കിട്ടി. MCP സർവറുകളെ കുറിച്ചാണ്. അതിൽ പറയുന്നത് എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ഒരു MCP സെർവർ നമ്മുടെ സ്വന്തം കമ്പ്യൂട്ടറിൽ, അതായത് ലോക്കലായിട്ട് വളരെ എളുപ്പത്തിൽ ഉണ്ടാക്കാമെന്നാണ്. ശരി, അപ്പൊ നമുക്കതൊന്ന് വിശദമായി നോക്കാം അല്ലെ. ഇത് ശരിക്കും അത്ര എളുപ്പമാണോ? എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് ഇതിലെ പ്രധാന കാര്യങ്ങൾ?
തീർച്ചയായും ഇതിലെ ഒരു രസകരമായ കാര്യം എന്താന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ, സാധാരണ നമ്മൾ വിചാരിക്കും സെർവർ ഉണ്ടാക്കുക എന്നൊക്കെ പറയുന്നത് ഭയങ്കര കോംപ്ലിക്കേറ്റഡ് ആണെന്ന്. പക്ഷേ ഈ MCP, പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് പൈത്തൺ SDK ഉപയോഗിച്ച് ഈ പ്രോസസ് ലളിതമാക്കാൻ ശ്രമിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അത് എത്രത്തോളം എളുപ്പമാണെന്ന് നമുക്ക് നോക്കാം.
ഓക്കെ, അപ്പോൾ ആദ്യം തന്നെ എന്താണ് ഈ MCP സെർവർ? ഈ യൂട്യൂബ് ട്യൂട്ടോറിയൽ പറയുന്നത്
Okay, I've just posted, but isn't this incredible? I mean, the accent, the tone is all natural. You cannot even make out that this is actually AI generated, isn't it? Now let's go to the next section, okay, which is equally interesting, which is an video overview. So what I'll do is, on the video overview tile, if you click on the stencil part here, right, again you can choose which language you want your video to be hosted in. Okay, so I can, again, let me just choose Malayalam because I'm a Malayali essentially. Okay, it should be here, right? And what should the AI focus on? Okay, AI host focus on. So let me again just try. I'll give the same thing as the audio overview, okay, and I'll say generate. This will again take some time, okay, and let me pause this video. I'll be back to get a mind blown, okay, eagerly waiting. Again, it took a little over 10 minutes for it to generate the video. Now let's try playing this video. Okay, so let's just try playing this. So it has given an option in the caption in Malayalam, right? നിങ്ങളുടെ ആദ്യത്തെ AI ടൂൾ നിർമ്മിക്കാം. This should be interesting and mind-blowing.
നമസ്കാരം, ഇന്ന് നമ്മൾ നമ്മുടെ സ്വന്തം AI ടൂൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ പോവുകയാണ്. അതും ഒരു ലോക്കൽ MCP സെർവർ വെച്ചിട്ട്. കേൾക്കുമ്പോൾ വലിയ സംഭവമായിട്ട് തോന്നുമെങ്കിലും സത്യം പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഇത് വളരെ സിമ്പിൾ ആണ് അല്ലേ? മിക്കവാറും എല്ലാവരുടെയും മനസ്സിൽ ഈ ഒരു ചിന്തയുണ്ടാകും, ഒരു സെർവർ സെറ്റപ്പ് ചെയ്യുക എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞാൽ അത് വലിയ കോഡിംഗ് അറിയാവുന്നവർക്ക് മാത്രം പറ്റുന്ന പണിയാണെന്ന്. പക്ഷെ സത്യം അതല്ല. ശരിയായ വഴി അറിയാമെങ്കിൽ ആർക്കും ഇത് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. അപ്പോ ഇന്ന് നമ്മൾ എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് നോക്കാൻ പോകുന്നത് നോക്കാം. എന്താണ് MCP സെർവർ?
I'm not going to play the whole video, but this is awesome, isn't it? I mean, I could just directly download this, for example, or I could just share it, download it, and I could publish it to YouTube as a YouTube tutorial. So essentially, this is my video, remember? Though the AI has generated it, I have provided the resources for it in order to generate this video. It's a great business idea right here. How cool is that? Now let's explore more on what all we can have here. So let me go back to Studio. Right. Now we could also have something called a mind map, which is nothing but generates the map of the sources of your notebook. And this should not take a long time. I mean, it should be quick generating the map. Let's see how long it takes. Yeah, it took hardly 30 seconds there. So if I just click on this mind map here, right, so it shows me a map of how the content of my notebook is actually stacked up, right? So you have your design and MCP system design and MCP server setup, and then you have your MCP server setup walkthrough. You could click, you can expand this, then you could go through the next node, which is your goal. If you wanted, you could expand this again. Tools and setups, you could expand it again. So essentially a map of your contents. Again, a very useful tool. So let me just go back to my studio. And what else do we have? So if you wanted, you could generate a report. Okay, so you could create your own report. You could create a briefing document which you could use for presentations or as handouts. You could actually generate a study guide, okay, which would contain a short answer quiz, suggested essay questions, and glossary of key terms. So this is something that could be very useful for teachers, right? So our teachers and instructors, if you're getting the gist of what I'm saying. So you could just have your materials, if you have the right materials, yeah, this could help you create some wonderful instructional material for your students. Wonderful, right? And then you have your flashcards, which is essentially nothing but just some AI generated flashcards. I'm not going to go through this section. You can try it on your own, and then you can actually have a quiz. So you can generate a quiz. So again, something that can be very useful for instructors and teachers there. And with this, we have completed the NotebookLM language model from Google. It was awesome, isn't it? Now let's have a look at the next two. So the next tool that we'll be looking into is the AI Studio. So just go into aistudio.google.com, sign in as usual with your Google credentials, and it should bring you to a similar looking dashboard here. So on the left hand side here, you have your chat option, you have stream option, you have generate media, you have build. We'll be going through this quickly because I do not want this video to drag on forever essentially. But on your chat option, which is what is selected by default, uh, you can chat with the AI model that you have chosen. And where do you choose the AI model? On your right hand side, you can see this style there. So I have chosen the Gemma 312B, which is a free open source model. If you wanted to change the model to say something else, right? So if you want a paid model like Gemini to Flash, Flashlight, Pro, you could do that. Nothing stopping you from doing that. But if you choose a open source free model, okay, something that you should be aware of is that just have a look into the cutoff date. Now, because this essentially means that the model is only aware of events or information that is relevant till August of 2024. So it would not have any knowledge of the events that happened after August 2024. For example, if I'm choosing Gemma 327B, so just be aware of it. But normally, okay, for most of our use cases, unless you're doing research on, say, the latest happenings or stock market analysis, things like that, you don't need real-time data. For example, if you're doing coding, data from last year works just as fine, and this is free, remember, so make use of it, right? I'm not going to chat with it or anything. You understand the gist. Let me just go to the second option, which is before I go to the second option, you have something called temperature on your right hand side here. So temperature is essentially how creative your AI model can be. So this goes from a value of 0 to 1, 1 being it can be very creative, 0 means it is to the point, very concise, very precise, and maybe even boring. I'll leave it at 1. I want it to be creative. Okay. Now let me go to the second subtool that it has, which is the stream option. It's quite interesting. So the stream is something whereby this is something now that if you've used Cloud Code, for example, or if you've used the GitHub Copilot's agent mode, it's something similar to that, where you can give control of the system to the AI. You can talk to it. You can share the webcam. You can share the screen with it. Okay. So let's try doing some things here. Okay. On the right hand side, you can choose which model you want. So I'll leave it as the default model, Gemini 2.5 Flash native audio, which works fine. So the system instructions, okay, let's play around with this a bit. So I'll say that you're a witty and sometimes sarcastic AI helper. Your answers are loaded with humor. Your goal is to bring out a chuckle from the user. Okay, so essentially you're a funny, witty, sometimes bitchy AI assistant. Okay, the voice is Sapphire. You can play around with the different voices you want. Media resolution, it's fine. I'm just leaving other things as default, and I will just talk with it. Okay, so just let me say something. Okay, connecting to the server. Yeah. Hi, my cat won't come to me. Why is that?
Ah, the delightful independence of cats. Perhaps your communication was in the wrong regional dialect. Or maybe you forgot to offer a suitable monetary incentive. Is there anything specific you are hoping to get the cat to do?
Yeah, my cat will come to my wife, but it will not come near me. I'm a little bit jealous.
Ah, the age old problem of the cat choosing favorites. Perhaps your wife has a superior brand of treats, or she pays more attention to her naps. You might want to consider implementing a more cat centric schedule, or perhaps upgrading your purring technique.
So how cool is that, right? So I just ended the stream there. So you can see it's a great time pass, but if you wanted to do more serious things, right, and you are just tired of typing, you could just tell it. You just ask it to do things for you. So whatever you typed, you could just converse with it. Alternatively, you could just go back here. Let's just go back to the stream here, right? And then you could actually enable a new stream. So I can start a new stream and I can start my webcam. I can share my screen. So essentially, you're giving control of the screen. You could say that my screen shows this error. For example, if you're debugging something, you could just say, what is this error on my screen? And so on. You get the idea. So I'm back on the AI Studio's main dashboard here. And before I move on to the next tool, which is Generate Media, just let me quickly cover the Build tool on the left-hand side, the fourth option here, Build. Okay, as you guessed it, this is just another tool in Google's arsenal to build an app. Now, Google has a lot of such tools which you can build your app, and it's up to you to choose which app you want to use, right? So interesting times that we're living in, giving so many options to us. So let me just try build me a YouTube thumbnail generator that uses the video description and an input image. And this should be quick enough. And by the way, if you wanted, you could just browse the different type of apps given as examples here, so that it gives you an idea about the prompt that is to be used and how the output would be. So just let me try creating my app for the YouTube thumbnail generator. I give a run. By the way, the latest news is that Gemini Pro 3 is on the cards, and it's about to be released probably this month, if not this week. And what I've heard is it's insane. It's going to be a direct competition or even a big threat to Chat GPT 5. So interesting times again, isn't it? And we have our app here. So I'll just let it do its thing here. Yeah, it's quite fast, isn't it? Compared to the other app generators that we saw, for example, Gem, I think this is much more faster. Yeah, and it's all done, right? It took under a minute. It was super fast. It did it in a flash, so it has the video description. I can upload an image, and the generated thumbnail should be there. So pretty impressive. So let me just go back. I'm not going to demo this. I mean, this was just to give you a feeling of what it is capable of doing if you were ever to use this, okay, which is your build tool here within Google AI Studio. Now let us go to the generate media. Again, this is more media related. So you have your Nano Banana. I don't think I need to explain what Nano Banana is. Essentially, it is an image generator, very powerful, free to use. It's very common. It's a rage. People are dressing themselves up, all sort of attires and all sorts of costumes, makeovers, getting great aesthetic views on how they want to look. So something you can try out. I'm not going to do that. Image gen, again, it's something you can use to generate images. it might be a bit redundant now compared to say Nano Banana, right? But anyway, that said, so you have your speech generation. Again, I'm not going to go through this. Essentially, if you type a text, it generates it into speech. It probably, you can use a single speaker or a multi-speaker. You can name the speaker 2 settings. You can have your model. I'm not going to go through this. What I am actually interested is the VO fast tool. Okay, so just let me go through VO fast. Now this is something you can generate your videos with, and you can see I've already used some of my credits, so you get some 10 generations per day. I have just 4 remaining, so very minimal credit for me to do my experiments on. But let us me try generating a video here. Okay, so within the prompt, okay, what I'll put in is, I will just put in the poem "The Highwayman" by Alfred Noyes, right? Just a few stanzas. The wind was a torrent of darkness among the gusty trees. The moon was a ghostly galleon tossed upon cloudy seas. And essentially, the highwayman came riding, and who was waiting for him but the landlord's black-eyed daughter, Bess, the landlord's daughter, plaiting a dark red love knot into her long black hair. Let's see what video this generates. Should be interesting. By the way, you have something called a negative prompt on your right hand side. If you have a look into it, this essentially means if you want to omit some elements from your video, you can mention it here. For example, you could say do not show snakes. Okay, I'm just giving you an example there. So you could have a negative prompt whereby you could mention objects or elements that you do not want in your video. Since this is a demo, I'm not going into the details here, so just let me run this. Okay, let's see how much time it takes. Okay, it was quite fast, surprisingly. Okay, let me just play the video. It took under a minute, if you want to know. And by the way, the length of the video is fixed to 8 seconds. You cannot change it here. So maybe on a paid version you can have a greater length, but right now I do not see an option to increase it. I do not even see an option whereby I can actually pay and increase the length. So let me play the video. That's awesome, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. Now the natural question you might have is, what if you wanted multiple videos, or say I wanted a video of a length which is more than 8 seconds. So essentially you have to build another video of 8 seconds and you have to merge it together. So you could use any tool you wanted to merge it together. But our next tool that I'm going to demo is about that, just Google Flow, and we'll see how to use it. And that would be the last tool that I'll be demoing for this video today. Okay. Now, before I go on to Google Flow, just wanted to make you aware that you could download this video if you wanted, right? Or you could export it to your Google Drive there. So you have that option to do that. So I am on the Google Flow's main dashboard here, and the URL is labs.google/fx/tools/flow. Once you reach that page, you will be asked to log in with your credentials there, and this is what you should be seeing right there. What you need to do is, you could just say create a new project. Okay, and essentially it's the same thing that we saw previously with Google AI Studio VO3 Fast, where you could enter your prompt there and then it would generate the text. Now you have some options here. Okay, so if you look into this drop down here, it defaults to text to video, which is what we saw with AI Studio's VO tool there. So you type in the prompt, it will generate the video. You also have something called frames to video, which is if you select this, essentially what will happen is you can insert a beginning frame and an end frame, right? So you can reference those frames and ask the AI agent to create the video between those frames there. So pretty cool thing. Ingredients to video, it's not available on the free tier, unfortunately, but this is again some a very cool feature whereby you could add, say, multiple references images to your video there, right? This is only available for the paid version, so there's no point discussing that. Essentially, other than this works exactly the same as Google AI Studio's view, but it has a lot more capabilities. So for example, if you go into a scene builder, so if you see on your top left hand side corner, you have your flow, you have your date, time, and then if you go to scene builder here and if you click on that, okay, you can actually it will show you the different clips that you have created, and you could drag and drop, and essentially you could extend, merge, do whatever you wanted, and create the video of your desired length there. What you could also have a look into is the support page of Google Flow, which is support.google.com/labs/answer, whereby it gives a very detailed documentation on how you can create your videos, what are the different options, how you can use frames to video, how you can use ingredients to video, which is what we just saw, which is not available by the way. You can expand your text prompt in the flow, you can create custom expanders, you can add generated clips, and so on and so forth, right? So this was the last tool and the seventh tool, I believe, that we saw today. And with that, we are at the end of our video essentially. I hope you really enjoyed this session, right? So this was a no code stuff, essentially playing around with the various tools that Google has made available at our disposal. Now what I've noticed is that whenever a new tool is launched, it usually is free, because essentially the organization which launched it wants to get ahead of the competitors, and also it wants to get some data, some statistics on how users are going to use it, and at a later stage it becomes paid there. But there are cases where it has gone the opposite way. For example, it might be the Comet browser, which has been launched and have been made free, I think, last week. So if you're not onto Comet, do try it. It's an excellent browser. But previously, I think it was very costly and it was paid. It had a huge waiting list, but now it's suddenly free. I suspect it is because of competition and because it wants user statistics. It wants to increase its user base. Perplexity essentially wants more users there. So I'm just putting this out there. And if you liked my video, okay, do like, subscribe, and share. Okay, this is a small community. Please help it grow. So till we see again, till we meet again, adios.